Hello, I'm John Schneider. As a kid, I'd come to the New Jersey Bayshore to visit my Grandma Vi and take home movies of what I saw. Today I live here, produce video documentaries, and recently shot this boat at night with my video camera. Where is the Jersey Bayshore? Well, let's start with the big picture. It's somewhere in here, part of the universe, and it's definitely part of our world. But it's like no place I've ever experienced. And as soon as we land, I'll show you around. Welcome to Jersey Bayshore country. What can you do here? Just take a look. Today we're visiting Atlantic Highlands, where there's also lots of things to see and do. Getting to Atlantic Highlands couldn't be easier. Just get on the Garden State Parkway, get off at exit 117, follow Route 36 towards Sandy Hook, look for this sign on your left, and you've arrived. Welcome to Atlantic Highlands, where the sun is just rising. In fact, we like to say the sun always rises and sets on the water here at the Jersey Bayshore. And what better place to start our quick tour than at the Atlantic Highlands Marina? There's New York City across the way, and a lot of folks commute there every single day. And these are the hills they're leaving behind as they go. There are some terrific views from one of these homes, and we'll visit one of them later in the program. Here's a view looking north along the shoreline of the bay. The hills and the waterfront are two of the town's most important assets. Some folks like to get an early morning start by running down one of the town's many pathways and trails. We'll look at some of those later. From tree-shaded neighborhoods to the shops and restaurants downtown, Atlantic Highlands just feels like a classic American small town. The town's modern marina, with its great dock facilities, is one of the largest in the entire Bayshore area. The town hall captures a classic architectural style. Hungry? Well, just save your appetite for a variety of cuisines, including some great waterfront dining. Different nationalities, different tastes, even different people. It's all here and it's all delicious. As you walk down the sidewalks, you might think this could be a town where everybody knows your name. And you'd be right. It's a great place to stroll down the avenue and find something interesting in the shops to take home. There's also an art gallery in town showing the works of artists who live in the Bayshore area. We'll talk to a few of those artists who live here a little bit later in the program. In the meantime, let's peek into some of the shops in town and see what they have for us. Here's a view of the waterfront from downtown, and here are even more shops. This is a town in which you could easily spend a day exploring and finding some of the hidden alleyways. There's a little bit of everything here for everyone of every age, from gift shops to jewelers to eyeglass repair to a movie theater to fitness to marine supplies to, well, let's just say Atlantic Highlands has more shops and restaurants on one street than a number of towns in this area. Here's the gazebo by the Atlantic Highlands Marina. Later on, we'll listen to one of the rock bands. Love fresh vegetables? Then you've got to stroll through the farmer's market. I bought one of these for myself. It was delicious. So now that I have nourishment, let's jump in the car and visit Mount Mitchell, a Monmouth County park right next to Atlantic Highlands. There's also a beach below Mount Mitchell for swimming or beachcombing. On top of Mount Mitchell, there's a stunning view from the highest point on the eastern seaboard. Remember that beach I just showed you below Mount Mitchell? Well, here's somebody with a metal detector. Here is that spectacular view of New York City. And here's a monument to 9/11. Now near Mount Mitchell is the Lenape Trail. And here's an old stone bridge in one of the neighborhoods, which was built more than 120 years ago. And here's Henry Hudson Spring, discovered by guess who? We'll go inside this house as well. Some say it's haunted. Even if it is, I'd live in it just for the views of the Raritan Bay. The Atlantic Highlands Marina has lots of charter boats to take you sightseeing or fishing. And look, that's me and my friend on the boat we're going to go out on later in the show. And these hills, they're filled with a rich history. We'll talk about that later. And if you enjoy historic architecture, you'll find a few interesting examples right here. But when all is said and done, what makes living here so special is being by the water and the opportunity to catch fish in the Raritan Bay. And there are lots of them. You can also fish in Sandy Hook Bay, the Shrewsbury and Navesink Rivers, or the Atlantic Ocean. Say you need a place to stay for the night or weekend or longer? Well, we've got B&Bs scattered throughout the Jersey Bayshore, as well as hotels and motels. And if you live here, well, you're all set. Well, the commuters should be returning from the Big Apple shortly. There they are, here they come. And just in time for one of the area's beautiful sunsets. Don't forget to bring your camera. And when the night arrives, there's still plenty to do. And we'll try to do some of it during this program. You know, it's not easy putting together a show like this. I just stepped out from behind the camera to say hi. I'm John Schneider. I'm your host for Jersey Bayshore Country. And what a treat it is for me to host today's episode. It's all about Atlantic Highlands, one of my favorite towns. It's just a stone's throw away from where I live. I love going there, the restaurants, the marina, the music, the art, the people. What's not to like? And I'm sure you're going to like it after this episode. You know, one of the things that I said in the video that you watched just a few moments ago is that this area has such a rich history. And Atlantic Highlands is no exception. There's living history everywhere you go. And here's my case in point. Let's start with one of the oldest sites in the area, the Henry Hudson Springs, which is cared for by the Historical Society of Atlantic Highlands. The spring is located in the hills, right next to some of the homes which overlook Raritan Bay. And so it was, about 400 years ago, the explorer, Henry Hudson, moored his ship in the bay and sent some of his crew into the hills to search for fresh water. They found a spring right here, and today it still flows. Here's a home movie of my family visiting the spring more than 50 years ago. There's my dad. And look, that's me. By the way, back in those days, people would drink directly from the spring, as we're doing, or they'd fill their water bottles to take home. And today, folks are somewhat more cautious about drinking water from the spring. It's also a little more difficult to even see the spring today, but it's still worth a visit. These are the steps leading from the road to the spring. And here's the spring water running into Sandy Hook and Raritan Bays. Henry Hudson's ship, the Half Moon, was right out there. Can you see it? The water from the spring passes directly under the Henry Hudson Trail, which used to carry passenger trains along the shoreline. Today, it's a walking and biking path. It's an incredibly scenic path running from the borough of Highlands to Atlantic Highlands and beyond. In fact, it goes through all of the towns at the Jersey Bayshore. Here are some photographs I recently took of the Henry Hudson Trail. If you bring or rent bicycles, you can easily take the trail to Sandy Hook and ride that trail as well. Oh, and by the way, feel free to walk or ride slowly. It's hard to go too fast when you have to stop all the time to take a photograph. Spending an entire day biking on the Henry Hudson Trail should definitely be part of your agenda when you come to Atlantic Highlands. At some point along the Henry Hudson Trail, you can almost look up and see Mount Mitchell, which is a part of the Monmouth County Park System. You're probably getting tired of hearing about all the wonderful views in this area, but here's yet another one. Look, here it is, New York City, and you can see Long Island just as well. Incidentally, my father asked my mother to marry him on top of Mount Mitchell, and she did say yes. But while the view is certainly incredible, you should spend some time looking at the monument to the folks who not only lost their own lives or family members and friends who lost theirs, but to those in this area, many who had boats, who helped rescue survivors in New York City during 9/11. The monument is an eagle clutching a piece of steel from the World Trade Center. Now let's visit an historic home open to the public. It's the Strauss Mansion, a 21-room house built in 1893. It was built by Adolph Strauss as a summer cottage for his family. Mr. Strauss was a wealthy New York importer and a merchant with offices on Broadway. The house was designed in Queen Anne style and sits on top of one of the highest elevations in town. There are 69 doors and 70 windows, or so I'm told. I'm also told that the design and the size of the house matches the lifestyle of the Strauss family, which consisted of 9 people. The house is large, lavish, and ready for entertaining guests. Today, the Historical Society of Atlantic Highlands owns the Strauss Mansion and conducts public tours of the home quite regularly. So when you come to Atlantic Highlands, make sure you visit this wonderful piece of local history. Let's look around the house a little more before we go. And remember, some folks believe it is definitely haunted. Let's see if we can find any clues. Well, it certainly looks haunted to me, but what do I know? For more information about the Strauss Mansion Museum and Library, or to learn more about the history of Atlantic Highlands, visit www.atlantichighlandshistory.org. We're having a great time. This is my good friend, neighbor, fellow musician, fellow teacher, Carl Gentry. Lives right across the street. Good to have you here, Carl. John. Now, in the summertime in the Jersey Bayshore, I never see, you're always going out, you're always leaving, packing up your car and your van with all your musical equipment. You're out playing. I think there's a tremendous amount of terrific music. You must get a kick out of playing outside and with the people enjoying the sun and the drinks and the food.
It's a blast. It's so nice. Just a great experience when the weather's good.
Now I'm towing my car. There's a hole in the roof. My possessions are calls and there's a station where there's no proof. In the paper today, tales of war and of wage, but you never see the end of the TV page. Hey now, don't dream it's over. Hey now, when the world comes in, there comes love to treat us.
There's a lot of opportunities for people to hear live music in this area, isn't there?
There are so many opportunities. I mean, just we were talking before, and I've played so many places over the years. I've been playing the area for over 20 years. Going up to Atlantic Highlands, you have the Shore Casino, played there many times for private events. There was a place called the Castaways that's no longer there anymore. The harbor side, I played there in Atlantic Highlands.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, as long as we're here at the marina, let's have a quick snack at one of the restaurants overlooking the water, and then we'll shove off on another adventure. We're boarding one of the last wooden boats you'll see on Raritan Bay. It's called the Mariner. It's a beautifully designed boat from days past, and it's seaworthy, so let's go with my friend, Captain Dan Shade, who knows these waters pretty well. We're just about ready to leave. You know, even while we're maneuvering out of the marina, there's still lots to see. We're headed toward the Shrewsbury River in Highlands, New Jersey, just minutes from Atlantic Highlands. Here we are now leaving the marina and looking at the homes in the hills as we go. That big building up there, that's East Point. Frank Sinatra had a place up there. Eventually, we'll position the boat for a view of the sunset, but not quite yet. On a windy day, these sailboats seem to be out in the bay within minutes of the first breeze. Oh, it's a beautiful sight. And look, there's the bridge which crosses the Shrewsbury River to the Atlantic Ocean. And there's the historic Twin Lights lighthouses, built in 1862. The Northern Monmouth County Chamber of Commerce is on the boat with us today. Oh, lots of birds in this area, more than 300 species of migratory birds, in fact. And look what's coming, just like clockwork. It's the ferry service from New York City to Atlantic Highlands, and Sandy Hook. It's always fun to wave at the passengers on passing boats. I do it all the time. Mount Mitchell is over there to the right of East Point, and pretty soon the sun will be setting. Ah, there it is, beginning its descent. Captain Dan is starting to position his boat for the best view. Nice, very nice. By the way, that's a 2.5-mile-long pier out there used by the military to resupply ships. And now it's back to port, to the Atlantic Highlands Marina. Look, there's the place with the view we visited briefly before the boat ride. And here's a boat ready to pick up where we left off, maybe some night fishing. But for us, we're going to an art gallery in town where there's a display case in the gallery with artwork and artifacts from the Jersey Bayshore. We'll also meet 3 local artists and look at some of their work as well. Here's one of them.
My name's Mike Scherfen. I live in Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey, about 4 blocks from the Dillon Gallery, where I am at now. I'm a 27-year veteran art director out of New York City advertising, and I retired about 10 years ago and started painting. And I hadn't painted for many, many years, not since art school, and I now paint in watercolor, and I specialize in portraiture, and I specialize in landscapes. And I do a lot of portrait work of working people, master shipwrights, boat builders. I paint every day, 7 days a week. What I like about the area initially was that it was close to New York City, where I worked for 27 years. Atlantic Highlands to me is like a mini San Francisco because it's got the flat areas, it's got the water, and it's got the hills.
You know, both art and music is a big part of the scene, as they say, here at the Jersey Bayshore, and both art and music are represented in almost every style. Here's another artist who explains why he loves it here so much.
Hello, my name is Zeke Peabody. I live in Atlantic Highlands. I'm a painter. My studio is right around the corner. If you look at my large piece that's on the wall, the name of the painting is what Atlantic Highlands has traditionally been called. It's called The Jewel of the Bayshore, is the name of my painting. And what I do is I make figurative paintings. They have a mystical overtone. I like to be inspired by the light. That's why I like living here. There's a certain luminosity that happens that I try to capture in these pieces that are on the wall. I like the light. I like the way the light bounces around. I like the way there's so many different kinds of light and water. Bay, river, ocean. I'd almost say it's as close to what I've seen in Paris.
Now, a few of the artists being shown here tonight are still in high school, and they're very talented. Here's one of them.
Hi, I'm Will Leahy, an artist of Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey, and I started drawing art about 2006. Well, I always watched my father growing up. He graduated from Pratt in 1984 and then just kind of started doing my own thing. I was always into the Yankees. I drew a lot of sports things, a lot of music things, which my father also did. And well, the first piece is Gene Simmons from Kiss, which goes back to like the music influence, but he's the Statue of Liberty, and it's falling into the water with the New York skyline and whatnot. And a lot of places in New Jersey, if you look out, you could see the New York skyline and kind of relate to that. And then the other one's a map, which just shows like different counties in New Jersey and like what they represent.
So whether it's music or art or history or recreation, the Jersey Bayshore and Atlantic Highlands has a lot to offer almost everyone. Finally, I'd like to share with you something I call In the Neighborhood. It's usually some place next to or close to the town I'm profiling. But there's a twist. I don't narrate, and you'll hear the sound of the video as I shot it, along with some music that I've selected to go with it. We're going to Sandy Hook, which can be clearly seen from Atlantic Highlands. We're going to take my small boat and explore some of the ruins and relics. Some of these relics are left over from when Sandy Hook was home to Fort Hancock, which was a large military installation. It's a great place to find sea glass and old bottles as well. So here we go to a place on Sandy Hook where not many people have been, but I'm taking you. Well, I don't know where the time goes. Maybe it's slipping into the future, as Steve Miller once said. But I was so pleased to be part of the show, and I hope you'll stay tuned, because next week we're going to have a whole new episode about a whole new town in the Jersey Bayshore, and I want you to join me. Now remember, I'm not the only one with a video camera. I happen to know that you probably have one too. Maybe it's a phone camera, maybe it's just a camera, maybe it's a video camera. Either way, you have to contact me at john-schneider at comcast.net. Let me know what you got. I'd love to take a look at it. Give me some ideas. Give me some suggestions. It's always a lot of fun to hear from folks, and I want to hear from you. Well, as we conclude the show, I don't usually do many things here in the studio except interview people. And, we had that interview with Carl Gentry, the musician who played down at the Gazebo in Atlantic Highlands. Well, when we started that interview, I thought we'd never get through it because we kept laughing. And here are some of the outtakes. Have a good one. I'll see you later. Bye-bye. All right, here we are. I don't know if I'm going to get through this show, but I'm going to try. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Now, I'm so pleased to have with me tonight, or today, or this afternoon, or this morning, my good friend, neighbor, fellow teacher, and fellow musician, Carl Gentry.
Why do you laugh when you say my name, Jim?
I don't know, because maybe of something that happened before we went on the air. We're live now. The floor manager just told me we're live. Hello. Hello, everybody. I'm John Schneider, and welcome to Video Guide to the Jersey Bayshore with me tonight. These will be in the bloopers. You're not going to do bloopers. I got to do bloopers.
This is great.
I got to do bloopers.